So hello everyone. In today's discussion, we are going to talk about differentiation and organogenesis. And before going understanding the concept of differentiation, we need to understand first what is this, how this differentiation is manifested, or how this differentiation phenomenon is occurs in the medium or occurs in any type of a cell. So it is the concept called as totipotency. So before that, we should all keep in mind that each cell is having its own potential or ability to differentiate into other cell types. So, this totipotency is a general genetic potential of a plant to produce the entire plant. In other words, totipotency is a characteristic of a cell in which potential of forming all cell types in the adult organism or the plant is retained. So, in plant tissue culture, the basis of the plant tissue culture is to grow large number of cells in a sterile controlled environment. The cells obtained from any part of a plant are allowed to grow in a culture medium containing mineral nutrients, vitamins, hormones, and other required nutrients ingredients in order to encourage the cell division and growth. So, as a result, the cells in the culture will produce an unorganized, undifferentiated proliferative mass of a cell, that is what called as callus tissue. So, the cells that comprise the callus mass are totipotent. Thus, a callus tissue may be in broader sense totipotent. That is, it may be able to be regenerated back to normal plant given under certain manipulated or modified modifications of the medium, and also certain changes in the cultural environment are done. So, truly speaking, a totipotency of a cell is manifested through the process of differentiation, and the hormones in this process play a vital role. So, we need to understand that in 50s, Skoog and Miller discovered a new plant growth hormone, that is kinetin, from herring sperm DNA. So, they demonstrated the role of kinetin in the formation of phenomenon called as organogenesis. So, they demonstrated that with the correct concentration ratio of auxin and cytokinin in tobacco cultures, organogenesis can be induced. These were the first person to demonstrate the role of auxin and cytokinin in the tissue culture processes. That is, induction of organogenesis can be achieved by addition of correct concentration ratio of auxin is to cytokinin. So, followed by they also demonstrated the phenomenon of collagenesis. So, when the ratio of kinetin to oxygen in the culture medium was higher, only shoot developed. So, this is known as collagenesis. Again, when the cytokinin ratio was reduced, roots were formed. This is known as rhizogenesis. So, in the same year, Stewart and his colleagues, they devised a method growing a carrot tissue by excising small disc from a secondary phloem region of a carrot root. So, this phloem region, it was placed in a moving liquid medium under controlled conditions and sterile conditions, in the presence of coconut milk in the medium, the phloem tissue began to grow actively. And it is also observed in some of the experiments that cells of some callus mass frequently differentiate into vascular elements such as xylem and phloem without formation of any plant organs or the embryos, and this process is known as a histogenesis or cytodifferentiation. Thus, we have to understand that the totipotent cells may express themselves in different way on the basis of differentiation process and manipulation. Now, what is this differentiation? So, differentiation in plants refers to the process by which distinct cell types arise from precursor cells, and they become different from each other. So, plants are having about more than a dozen basic cell types, and each of these cell types are play a significant role which are required for everyday functioning and survival of a plant. So, when we compare the cell types of animals and the plant cells, the basic diversity of a plant cell is very low, but yet each plant cells, these are strikingly different from those of animal cells. For example, some cells such as parenchyma cells retain the potential to respond to the environmental and or hormonal signals throughout their life, and under proper conditions these parenchyma cells can be transformed into another cell type, and this transformation of parenchyma cells under from to the complete another cell type of cell under controlled conditions is called as a transdifferentiation. So other cells such as water conducting tissue, vessel elements, they undergo cell death as a part of the differentiation pathway, and thus can never transdifferentiate to another cell type. And again, this differentiation of cell into meristem cell, plant tissue systems, tissue systems, and collenchyma tissues, and formation of the sclerenchyma tissues is also part of a differentiation, and other formation of from the formation of epidermal cells, guard cells, and ground tissue cell types like parenchyma cells, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, which will be containing fibrous fibers, and formation of other vascular tissue cell types like xylem tissue and phloem tissue. These are all the result of the process called as differentiation. And then differentiated cells in plants are able to re-enter the cell cycle. They proliferate and regenerate tissues and organs, and even become a complete plant according to the hypothesis of differentiation. So that means the differentiated cells in the plants, they have the capacity or the potential to re-enter the cell cycle. They proliferate and they regenerate the tissues, and they regenerate the organs, and even they can become a complete plant under the process of this differentiation. There are several reports which have proven that the totipotent ability of a plant cell through which the plant can be regenerated, which in turn is widely used in several basic studies like micropropagations, germplasm conservation, and even formation of genetically modified plants. So all these processes, they use this totipotent cells. So through these experiments, it is proved that the totipotent ability of a plant cell through which the plant can be regenerated, this due to this reason, this totipotent cell are basically used in most of the experiments or the researches like micropropagation, even in germplasm conservation studies, and even in formation of genetically modified plants. Yeah, so here you can see the chart which explains about from explant how the whole plant grows and what are those different phenomena occurring. So this is a brief outline of formation of a complete whole plant from small any part of a plant, even it may be from single cell tissue or protoplasm, or even a organ, or any part of a plant. So from the explants from the explants, callus induction starts, callus induction forms, and from the callus induction the process of organogenesis is induced. So this organogenesis can be either of two types depending upon the interest of the experimentalist or the person who is doing the tissue culture. Either he want to induce the shoots, or he wants to induce the rhizomes or roots. It depends on him. So organogenesis, it can be again induced in two types, that is collagenesis, that is shoot proliferation, and rhizogenesis, that is only root formation, first root formation and only shoot formation, and then followed by the root formation. Okay, so collagenesis and rhizogenesis. And collagenesis is formation of root, and after formation of root, rooting is induced, and for finally a whole complete plant is found to grow. And other part of rhizogenesis is organogenesis is rhizogenesis. Through this, root formation is done, but no shooting is followed. But you have to see here, between the process of explants to the cell induction, there is a process called as dedifferentiation. So this dedifferentiation is nothing but from the callus, explants can be grown, from the explants callus can be grown. This is a reversible process, dedifferentiation. So from the process of callus induction to organogenesis, the process of redifferentiation occurs. We will see in the later stage what is this dedifferentiation and redifferentiation. Just through this brief outline, you need to understand that yes, from the explant, callus induction is the next process, followed by organogenesis, followed by collagenesis, rhizogenesis or colorhizogenesis, and followed by shoot formation, root formation, rooting, no shooting, and completely into the whole plant. So this de-differentiation is another process in the differentiation. So this the term de-differentiation has many differentiations, and many of the workers have given their own ideas or definitions about the de-differentiation and callus formation. So the term de-differentiation has many definitions. So according to Bloch, he says that it is a process by which mature or specialized cells lose a differentiated character and they rejuvenate. Okay, so according to Hale et al. And in the year 2005, they say that it is a process in which tissues that have undergone cell differentiation can be made to reverse the processes so as to become a primordial cell again. So basically, what happens in the tissue culture? A cell primordial, we will grow it under controlled conditions, that takes the form of a callus. Okay, but in de-differentiation process, here the tissues which have undergone cell differentiation can be made to reverse the processes in order to become a primordial cell again and or back. As per another definition given by Jopling et al. In 2011, they say that de-differentiation involves a terminally differentiated cell reverting back to a cell less differentiated stage from within its own lineage. So again, Graffey in 2005 is of opinion, and he defines de-differentiation as its distinguishing feature is the withdrawal from a given differentiated state into a stem cell like state that confers the pluripotentiality. Okay, so de-differentiation is a process which is common in one thing common in all the four above definitions is that contrary to differentiation, de-differentiation increases the developmental potency of a cell. Contrary to the differentiation, de-differentiation increases the developmental potency of a cell. Again, there is a controversy, we need not bother about that. However, to what extent the term de-differentiation can be used, and yes, of course, it is a reversion of differentiation, and therefore it can take place only within the same cell lineage, or can be used for all the processes with increasing the cellular potency. So by this we have got some understanding what is this de-differentiation. Okay, de-differentiation is a reversion of differentiation, and therefore can take place only within the same cell lineage, or can be used for all processes increasing the potency of a cell. So this slide makes us understand various processes, that is differentiation, de-differentiation, transdifferentiation, and trans or de-differentiation, and even trans and differentiation over proliferation callus through this schematic representation. So the various differentiation pathways, this is the pathway of a plant cell that can follow and use the terminology to describe them. So differentiation is generally associated with the decreased, de-differentiation with the increased developmental potency. Differentiation is closely related to or associated with the decreased developmental potency, and de-differentiation is linked with the increased developmental potency. And in strict sense, de-differentiation can take place only within the same developmental lineage and can be considered as a reversion of differentiation. Okay, so in strictly sense, this de-differentiation can take place only within the same developmental lineage. In this case, you can see here the dark color, red color, and dark blue color. These are the two things, and from followed by the light red color and light blue color. So this arrow mark complete arrow mark with a straight line without any dots, that shows the process of differentiation or de-differentiation. Okay, so the de-differentiation in the strict sense is can take place within only within the lineage, same developmental lineage, and can be considered as the reversion of the differentiation. Now coming to transdifferentiation, so this is used to describe cell fate changes independent of developmental potency. Independent of the developmental potency of a cell, this transdifferentiation takes place. So it decides the fate of a cell. However, in plant sciences, transdifferentiation leading to increased developmental potency is often referred to as de-differentiation, especially during the formation of the callus. So callus formation is not a step back in the developmental lineage, but rather is a result of over proliferation or transdifferentiation. So here you can see here with the another last two dots with the yellow color and light blue. So these processes, they is happened only by the formation, by the process called as trans or de-differentiation, only with the over proliferation, so formation of the callus. Okay, light blue and dark yellow circles towards outside, both right and left outside. So this callus formation has been able to happen only to trans due to the phenomenon called as trans or de-differentiation with over proliferation or of the differentiated cells. And some or most of the cells of the heterogeneous callus tissue can have increased developmental potency as well. So this through this schematic representation of the pathways, we can understand that differentiation generally is associated with the decreased developmental potency, and de-differentiation is always associated with the increased developmental potency, and strictly de-differentiation can take place only within the same developmental lineage and can be considered as a reversion of differentiation. So this is a slide through which we can understand, starting from simple specialized cells, directly an organism can new organism can be formed. Starting it may be, so in between there are followed by specialized cells division. These cells are form the tissue, and tissue form later on stage as an organ, and organ into complete systems, and system into complete organism. Example here in this diagram you can see here root cells. These, when cultured under controlled conditions and provided proper nutrients, they form the root tissue followed by complete root, and these root form the vascular bundles which make up a transport system, and finally it leads to the formation of a complete transport system makes up into a complete plant. Yeah, and this phenomenon of mature cells reverting to a meristematic state and forming undifferentiated callus tissue is termed as a de-differentiation. I repeat, the phenomenon of mature cells that are reverting back to a meristematic state. From the meristematic state, they will form mature cells. So here it is a reverse phenomenon. The phenomenon is phenomenon of mature cells reverting to a meristematic state and forming undifferentiated callus is termed as a de-differentiation. Okay, and then the ability of differentiated cells to form a whole plant or a plant organ is redifferentiation. The ability of differentiated cells to form a whole plant or a plant organ is called redifferentiation. And the phenomenon of de-differentiation and redifferentiation are inherent capacity of a plant cell, and thus giving rise to whole plant known cellular totipotency. What is cellular totipotency? Cellular totipotency is nothing but the phenomenon of de-differentiation and redifferentiation, which are inherent capacity of a plant cell, and thus giving rise to a whole plant. Okay, so this was all about the differentiation, redifferentiation, transdifferentiation, and dedifferentiation. So another topic phenomenon in this formation from the cell to complete organism is organogenesis. So we all know that plant shoots and roots are able to retain their apical meristem functions even after a part of their meristem is removed. Okay. However, when a whole meristem are excised, they are removed out. The plant cells of differentiated tissues or organs have the ability to produce new shoots and lateral roots via organogenesis. For example, when you remove the meristematic cells from a plant, okay, that you remove it separately, and in such situations when the meristems are removed, the plant cells of differentiated tissues or organs, they start producing new shoots and even the lateral roots via the process called as organogenesis. So in vitro plant regeneration by organogenesis, the result of organ formation through dedifferentiation of differentiated cells and reorganization of cell division in order to create a particular organ primordia and meristems after vascular connections between the explant and the newly regenerating organ is achieved from this organogenesis. And so, and this organogenesis means genesis of organs like shoots, roots, leaves, flowers, etc. So, the earliest report for the first time on induction of shoot organogenesis is in vitro was reported by White in the year 1939. He used the tobacco hybrid, and the first observation of root formation was reported by Nobicourt in the year 1939 by using the carrot callus. This organogenesis are of two types: direct regeneration and indirect regeneration, or indirect organogenesis. So these two types depend upon the combination of the hormone in the culture. What type of hormonal combination, whether you are using the more concentration of auxin, cytokinin, or less concentration of cytokinin or auxin, it depends on the concentration or combination of the hormone which are using in the culture media. These two types can be recognized. So as a rule of a thumb, it is understood that to achieve the direct regeneration, auxin is to cytokinin ratio should be always 10 to 1 to 100 to 1. This induces roots, and auxin is to the ratio of auxin is to cytokinin 1 is to 10 is to 1 is to 100 induces shoots. So this can be achieved through the process called as direct regeneration. This is what called direct regeneration. So indirect organogenesis is intermediate ratios around 1 is to 1 favors the callus growth. So this is indirect organogenesis. Direct organogenesis, in this here you can see explant is taken, it is grown in the media, culture medium, and that forms the meristemoid, and finally it forms the cell primordium. So in many plants, subculturing of the callus is directly results in undesired variations of a clones, that is considered as called as a soma clonal variations. To avoid these variations of the clones, direct regeneration of a plants into plantlets can be tried, and this has been achieved in many plant species as well till now, where there was alteration of the hormonal combinations in the culture media. By altering the hormonal combination, the direct organogenesis can be achieved successfully. So in the indirect organogenesis, initially explant is taken, it is grown, and this explant forms the callus, and callus it forms a meristemoid, and meristemoid forms the primordium. So in indirect organogenesis, callus is first produced from the explant, and organs can be produced from the callus tissue. Here you can see organs can be produced from the callus tissue or from the cell suspension produced from the callus. Okay, so this is the process in indirect organogenesis. And yeah, this in this plant you can see different photographs or the morphology of different stages during the plant organogenesis. In this figure A, yeah, this is a culture of root culture of Nicotiana rustica. In this first figure, in the first plate, you can see root regeneration from the callus tissue. These are all small callus tissues, and these are small roots you can see here. And in the second plate adjacent to that, that is a shooty callus. The callus is completely with shoots. And in the third, just below the A, the third plate, that is embryo regenesis from the callus tissue. Embryo is regenerated, and from adjacent to that, C, compact callus is formed, and adjacent to that D, shoot regeneration from the callus tissue can be seen here. And next is clumps, formation of shoot clumps are regenerated from the friable callus. So clumps are regenerated from the friable callus. So this photograph is just to make you understand that yes, these are the different stages during the plant organogenesis: root generation, shoot callus, embryo generation, and even compact callus can be formed. Even shoot generation from callus tissue can be achieved, and shoot clumps can be regenerated from a friable callus as well. Yeah, dear friends, I think I can end the discussion here, and in the next video lesson I will come up with the other topics or the other phenomenons in plant tissue cultures, apart from organization and differentiation. And till then, take care, and please watch my YouTube videos. If any doubts, please don't hesitate to ask me. I will try to solve it to the maximum of my knowledge. And yeah, bye bye.